The fourth expression of Libra is called modesty. And it begins with Libra 16, which is the boat landing, washed away. Now, a boat landing is where the unconscious realms of the ocean and the consciousness of the earth, the shore, are linked together. And here we have the boat landing washed away. We've got no linkage between our unconscious nature and what we know and depend upon, our structured, safe life. And this happens in life. The interface between the inner self and the outer world just gets washed away. And that might be because we lose a loved one and we're grieving, or because we get kicked out of our job or have experience of bankruptcy or other catastrophic events, and we just lose our sense of stability. And it would be hubris if we thought that we did not have to go through that. The idea that we can control our lives to avoid this kind of thing, it's just absurd. Nobody ever does. Everyone experiences some kind of boat landing, being washed away in their lives. And we have to be aware that it would be really arrogant to assume that we're going to be forgiven that and not have to experience that. We will. We all do. Now, the retired sea captain image of Libra 17 is of a person who's been through lots and lots of washed away boat landings in his life. He's been on the ocean, the sea captain, he's gone up and down with emotions. He's done it all. He's had all of these experiences. He's seen foreign places. He's had successes and failures. And now he's sitting in his rocking chair, perhaps retiring from the struggle and looking back and thinking, well, was that it? Everything changed. Everything that seemed dire at the moment became okay. Everything that seemed wonderful at the moment became not okay anymore. It just goes up and down, and he's retiring from that, moving into a more peaceful way of life where the emotional excitement and disappointment doesn't reach him. And he comes to the conclusion in the next one, Libra 18, that you kind of get back whatever you give out. Karma is indicated here. This is the two men placed under arrest. If you do something, there will be consequences. Now, in this negative sense, if you go too far beyond the boundaries of what's possible, there'll be something to stop you. There'll be a force that comes up against you, as there is with the boat landing. We can integrate our unconscious nature for a time, but eventually it'll be too big. It'll get washed away. And we have to contemplate that. And we come to understand that there's always a price to pay if we mismanage our affairs, if we make the assumption that we have more freedom than in fact we do have, more power to claim the freedom that we want. We will be stopped if we have not the power to fit in with society's requirements of us. We will be stopped. And that's a wisdom. That's an understanding to come to terms with. We have to make arrangements to cope with authority, such as it is. Now, it may well be tyrannical, and we may well feel ourselves to be rebellious, as indeed the gang of robbers do in Libra 19. And here's an interesting wisdom, that if alone we go against authority, we're impotent. We can't do anything. We're powerless. And we might even be wrong. It might just be our emotional process finding something to complain about and moan and so on. But if we form a group of people, or we join a group of people, all of whom, as a minority, have the same beef, the same complaint against authority, then first of all, there's a good chance that we'll be taken more seriously. Secondly, we'll have more influence. Thirdly, we will not be considered to be going through an emotional process. It will be a group thing. And that gives it more validity. And sometimes these rebellious groups become the dominant force. This is evident throughout history. The Bolshevik Revolution started with a few disenfranchised people taking it upon themselves to club together, join together and make their point known. And they became the government eventually. And this happens throughout history all the time. And it happens in our local situations as well. Local leaders become too tyrannical and they're ousted because 2 or 3 others want it to be that way and they get kicked out. That's how it is. This whole business of tyranny and rebelliousness, this isn't new. This isn't suddenly happening in the 21st century and we're noticing it and speaking up for the first time in history. It's been around for ages, for all of the ages, in fact. It's a fact of life. And this idea of pulling down the leaders and replacing them with a proper government, that doesn't actually work. And this is the wisdom of the 20th degree of Libra. What the Jewish rabbi represents is the traditional way of doing things in their line, in the Jewish line. This is what a Jew does. This is what we do. We're not trying to go against anyone or anything. We're not trying to bring anyone down. We're trying to do it our way. We believe ourselves to be right, and so we're behaving as though that is the case. And we will go with that. We're not against anyone. This is the wisdom of the rabbi. It may not be practiced by all of his flock, but that's what the rabbi knows, that you don't go against tyranny. You promote your own version of what would be good, and you establish the tradition of that. So here we have this relationship of modesty being discussed within this Libra expression, whereas we have to be aware that there are force majeure, that we could be upset by a storm. We only have what we have for a period of time, and it's good not to struggle too much against that for too long. And you'll come to the understanding that if you go too far, you'll be put down. There will be implications. The arrest will occur. And if you want to complain about everything that's going on, yeah, do that as a group, in a group. And that gives it authority, validity, and strength. And then you'll establish your own tradition, and you'll do it your way. And you won't worry too much about what other people are doing. You keep your head down and do it modestly, not trying to bring down the tyrant, just trying to find your own little corner of the world to do what you want to do. And this may well be something of crucial importance in the coming times. There are so many people arguing against the bad guys and thinking that we have to defeat the bad guys to find a way through to the future. It's just not valid. It's not realistic. It's not true. It's not a spiritual principle to do that, and it's ineffectual. What we need to do is to find our own way forward. And if you find that, then you'll have your path. It's a path of faith. It's a path of congregation with people of similar attitudes of faith. It's what to do if you're a spiritual person. You find other good guys to hang out with, and you leave the bad guys alone. Don't take them on. We can't win, but we can find our own way